And now we have come on onto the stage, please. Two guests who are producing new digital content. To my right is Guillaume, and now I have a language from De Fondomière. Okay. Thank you. Guillaume De Fondomière is executive producer and CEO of Quantic Dreams, and he became famous in the community for sure with, when he produced Fahrenheit, and I think we will see something of that for all the people who don't know it. It's a new kind of experience blending interactivity and cinema. And right now, of course, actually my kids were really excited that I would meet you, because right now Heavy Rain is promoted on the internet, and you can see that video. Probably we will see that as well. It's very fascinating. And further to the right is, how shall I say, Georg Becker or George Becker?
How do you like George Becker?
George Becker. His job title is Online and Infrastructure Manager at Lionhead Studios, who were recently sold to Microsoft. But mostly he's concerned with research in story developing. And he is here instead of the man he's working with, Peter Molyneux, who got sick, unfortunately, and was not able to board a plane. But I'm sure that as you are working with him constantly, and basically you are his right hand, you will give us at least a good
I'll let you know that in his right hand.
Okay, so we will start with your presentation. Oh, with yours. I didn't see whose computer was set up.
Okay, my presentation. Was it not supposed to be a trailer first, or was that?
Pardon me?
Was it not supposed to be a trailer first? Or?
Do we have a trailer? There, it's running.
Welcome, child. Your story is waiting. The world that was has changed and grown. So will you. Choose your fortune. Will you follow the path of mind or body, nobility, or corruption? Every choice leads to a different destiny. Choose yours.
Right, that was the nice video bit, and now we go back to PowerPoint. And what I'm talking about today, what I quickly want to talk about, it's a really big topic, so I can only give you an overview, is storytelling and video games. And storytelling and video games have a bit of a history, as in that games people were until recently not really good at it, and also that storytelling for games is something different than storytelling in movies, and I'll try to go into that a bit further. I just want to give an overview of what I'm going to talk about quickly. What games do differently to movies? There are a few obvious things, there are a few less obvious things. How games and movies influence each other. We know what we're doing wrong in terms of storytelling in games, but we'll start doing it right. This is how we will deliver story experience in the future, and what else the future holds. So the first topic will be what games do differently to movies. So the most important difference between a game and a movie, or a book for that matter, is that the player is an active participant and sits in the driving seat. What that actually means is that the difference between computer games and movies, as I like to call it, is that it's between active entertainment and passive entertainment in a provocative way, as in that if I want to watch a movie, I'll sit back and enjoy the movie. I take the movie in. I'll probably discuss the movie with myself, but I purely sit back and listen to somebody else's story. While with a game, the difference is you are actually participating in a story, and you become what you call the protagonist, basically. So now, if you think back of movies and books, the nice thing as a writer is that you've got the full control over your story. You can plan it out. You can, you choose your protagonist, antagonist. You decide how you want to tell the story. We in computer games we have this big problem that we have everything but the protagonist, because we can define absolutely everything but the player, because the player is going to do whatever he wants in the game. And if we try to control him directly, like do this, do this, do this, otherwise you're not following the story, he will quickly know that and will quickly feel like he's being cheated on an experience here. So also another difference between games and movies is that, this is what I think, that if I don't play a game as a replacement of watching a movie, I either play a game because I want to play a game, or watch a movie because I want to watch a movie. They're two completely different experiences. And they complement each other, but they don't replace each other. Also another important point that they can do differently, or do differently, is that the experience can adapt to how the player plays the game. For example, in Fable 1, a game we did, the game simulation had an idea of how good or evil you are compared to the world. So the world would recognize if you would become like a good hero and help people and do nice things to them, and the villagers would all be friendly to you and they would cheer to you and everything. But you could also play it as an evil hero who wanted to get the respect from the villagers and who wanted to go his evil ways. And that was reflected in the world. So while the player was playing, that influence was shown in various ways. One with like the environment, recognizing that, but also the hero himself changed. If you got evil, you got like little horns. If you were good, you were like really nice looking and glowing and everything. So games can adapt to how the player plays, basically. And the next point is that don't think of story experience as a linear medium. Think of it as guided by what the player enjoys, just like a storyteller around the campfire. So, what we try to do often with stories in games is we try to see what the player likes, how he gets certain bits of information, how he feels in this world, and we have to often adapt to that. It's a bit just like the storyteller around the campfire. He's got the audience, he tells a story, and he can adapt to the audience. He can, if the audience isn't scared enough, he can try to make it a bit more scarier. If the audience probably knows the story already, if they know the story, then the storyteller can go and change it all around. And we can do the same thing with games. And that also, the other thing is that games can emit emotions in the player that movies cannot easily do. For example, guilt or pride. We can put the player into a situation, in an uncomfortable situation of making a choice, and that choice, if you watch a movie and there's this choice the hero has to take, the protagonist has to take, and you as the audience are just happy that you don't have to take that choice, we can actually put the player into such a position so that he has to decide, he can't just escape, basically. Another thing is, player can experience and influence a story together. This is what we call cooperative or multiplayer play. So you could have a story-driven game, and you could let two people try to experience